welcome to another episode of Behind the White. Yes, indeed, we are on episode 2 of the brand new series. We did the preview last week, of course, everything has got going. And well, didn't start all that well in terms of results, but we'll get onto that in just a moment. I'm Jim Bailey, of course, with Chris Hyder alongside me, and you might notice a third man on the couch. No, Pete hasn't had a massive makeover. We are being joined by Keith Lochran, my flesh and blood, my cousin, but also former best player in Jordan Allen. And anything else you want to?
Massive Wanderers fan.
Massive Wanderers fan. Well, that's why you're here, really. That's why you're here. And of course, you did see the game at the weekend, as did you, Chris, of course, at Bolton Towers. I'm the odd one out. I haven't actually seen the game in full, which...
But you have watched the highlights.
I have watched the highlights, but it does mean that I'm probably not the most qualified to talk about the game in depth. So it's good that we've got Kieran alongside us, otherwise I'd just be asking Chris loads of questions, which probably isn't going to make the greatest of our podcast so far. But anyway, let's get stuck in as we have a look at what has been going on, and of course it is all about that Stockport County result. Away at Edgeley Park, it's always a very tough hunting ground for the Wanderers. A little bit of a bogey team, you could say, Stockport County, and it went the same way again, a 2-0 defeat. But from what I've seen everybody saying, and from the highlights that I saw of the game, it didn't look like a fair result from what I've heard and what I've seen in the highlights package. It looked like we were very unlucky to lose full stop, let alone be losing 2-0.
Well, first off, Bolton were absolutely fantastic. They were properly at it. I don't know about you, Keane, lost the amount of times that Coriada had a counter keeper had to make
He spent more of his time on the floor than on his feet.
He did. He's a big lad as well, so maybe that contributed to why he was able to make so many saves. You remember Bolton played Wrexham in the trophy last year.
Yeah, is it the same keeper? I thought, is it the same keeper from Wrexham last season?
Coriada? No, it was a different keeper altogether.
But a very similar performance.
Yes.
They were both on fire and he was dead tall.
It does help in that, doesn't it, being dead tall? But yeah, it did seem like that. From that, again, the highlights I saw, we did seem like we had a whole host of chances, which is frustrating in one respect that we've not managed to pull them away. But at the same time, there were a couple of efforts, hitting the woodwork, were very, very unfortunate that those haven't just sneaked in.
That's just it. I think that's the Bolton thing of last season. You either play very well and get nothing to show for it, or you don't play well and somehow you manage to get something to show for it. I want that happy medium. I just want Bolton to play well and have something to show for it, or play badly and deservedly get nothing to show for their efforts. But they've ended up doing that first thing I mentioned. They did play well, certainly in the first half. I think what ended up throwing a spanner in the works was conceding on the stroke of half-time to Malik Mothersill. Good signing, as we said, from Peterborough United. And it took them quite a while to get going in the second half, something like 15 minutes before they properly started showing the good stuff they've been doing in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of thing counts, doesn't it, Keith? That sometimes you do see a team concede right on half-time when they certainly have been the better of the two teams. And it takes them a while to get back into the rhythm of what they've been doing beforehand in the early stages of the second half.
Yeah, sure. It's like basically when they say on Football Manager, you rip your half-time team talk up, don't you? And you go in and you're back to square one.
And again, obviously, I haven't seen the highlights. I have seen the goals we conceded.
It's
a horrible goal conceded.
Sharman Lord he's so unlucky tonight. He gets his body in the way. Look at it, takes a deflection downwards and off it pops into net. But we didn't. For me, watching that first half, the chances created, the rhythm and play, and as far as obviously we've not got what we deem as our first team, the first name on the team sheet is a striker, which would be Sam Dalby.
As far as
I'm concerned. But Mason Burstall is some signing. Why Hull let him go is beyond me. All Twitter and social media reviews say the whole fans are distraught. They were like, "Well, we've just signed him. Why have we let him back out? Why have we put him on loan? He scored in pre-season for him." And then straight back. Well, I'm not complaining for us.
From what people were saying, it sounded like he had a very good debut, and some people actually quite disappointed that he was taken off late into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's keeping on the subject of Burstall, the penalty, there was a penalty decision that we didn't get, but for me, after watching it on multiple angles, obviously watching the Sky Sports, not the Wanderers TV version, you get the better angles. He brings him down. There's no, I mean, his body goes into an unnatural shape from the ball coming across the box, and you've seen him give him, but obviously VAR doesn't extend.
That is our first mention of rubbish refereeing in the EFL League One, and I just thought I'd note it with a nice little ring of this bell, which we've never used, but has been sat on this table pretty much every episode. So there we go, maybe that's a new thing, we'll ring a bell every time we complain about referees.
Yeah, I've only been here.
It's finally got used. Giving us use for the bell.
Going to say about VAR, it is, in the Football League at that level, like, we all know refereeing standards, like, to get to the Prem, you've got to be, it's centre of excellence, in it. You've got to be up there with the best in the world.
Yeah.
There's no...
And even at that level, people, they make mistakes, people get annoyed.
Yeah, of course.
But good God, the difference between the top level of refereeing in this country and that we get in League One is absolutely huge. And again, we've mentioned many times, they're not full-time and they should be.
And at the end of the day, that's a fact, a massive fact. So you're doing it. It's same with any level you're playing at, for even as a player at county level to the Prem. Look at obviously the steps in between. It's madness really. But you got what you got, haven't you? And you ain't got VAR, so you've just got to hope for the best and back them.
Can we have the bell rung again? Because that wasn't even the worst refereeing call in the first half. We had, around about 20-25 minutes in, Teddy Sharman-Lowe's barely had anything to do, but Bolton are doing that clever thing, trying to guide the ball out of play, and Carl Wootton ends up shoulder barging Sharman-Lowe into the advertising audience. It was alright.
It's GPH.
Yeah,
GPH.
I'm not sure I caught that far, but Wootton should have at least received a yellow card. And all the referee ended up doing was giving him a talking to. Now, unfortunately, this is where I have to go and say that this is what helped County a little bit, because they were undoubtedly under pressure for the first 15 to 20 minutes. I think it put in their minds that when Bolton were complaining on the pitch and from the sidelines, they got in their heads thinking, yeah, these lot, they might have changed the personnel a little bit, but they still look a bit of a soft touch because they're arguing over a decision that's gone. I kind of think that Bolton need to get it into their heads a little bit that you have to accept that not every refereeing decision is going to go your way. You can try and howl until you're blue in the face, but
you play for Bolton Wanderers, and we've been seeing over many years that we don't really get decisions.
Well, yeah, well, there is that, but there is the thing of you've just got, you have got to reset, because
you've got to roll up your
how many
sleeves and
times
accept it.
have you seen players complain to the referee leading to a change of decision? Never. It doesn't happen. Players, they can row and they can get in the face, but I've never seen a referee's decision be overturned because the players have made him realise he's wrong by screaming at him. It just doesn't happen. So I agree with you in a way, Chris. I think that yes, I understand that in those moments the passion can overboil, and if you're that annoyed that you will react, but you've just got to simmer down. At the end of the day, professional footballers are paid to do this job, and you've got to be as professional as you possibly can. Yes, sometimes that passion's going to get the better of you. There will be a little bit of it, but you've got to reset. You've got to get your head back on, and you've got to get your head back on for the set piece and make sure that whatever happens next isn't going to be detrimental. And obviously, we can see from a set piece later on in the game, and a set piece that, again, I've seen the highlights. So I've seen the foul.
I don't know what DSA 2's thinking.
I've not seen the whole build-up towards it, but
it's a silly foul to give away.
It does just seem like
also,
a very, very silly foul to give away.
Stockport, the main threat throughout the whole game.
Big fella up top.
The big fella up top. They had Cal Walton up top, and they literally had a game plan, route one, straight into that middle. And to be fair, as much as I wasn't, towards the end of his tenure at Bolton, I wasn't the greatest fan of Ricardo Santos. I thought he showed the lack of leadership as a captain for me. I think I'm not going to say anything about his playing ability because it's showed for itself on the pitch at times. But that game against Kyle Walton, that would have been a Santos game.
Yeah, because he just in the air, he was very rare.
He was dominant in the air, and just the physical game. I think Farino and Toll both struggled with him. And bless Max Conway, it's his first professional season. He's walked into a team, first game of the season against Stockport away. It's a massive game for a young lad who's come through the academy to walk into. And yeah, he's had a good pre-season. He's got on the score sheet a few times from left back as well. And I don't think he started as a left back. I think he's been sort of nurtured into a left back.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, he was more of a forward player.
Yeah, and I think he's been sort of pushed back, but he's doing a cracking job. And
yeah.
He had his work cut out from a few times.
Yeah, he did. I mean, you mentioned that Wootton effort in the first half comes in from the left-hand side. And Bolton, with a better connection, that would have been 1-0 before Mothersill had given him the lead.
Yeah.
I think Bolton did struggle with that, you are right, throughout the course of the game. It was infrequent, but when they ended up utilising it, it nearly ended up working. It did work in the 89th minute when I think you could...
But I think the ball, he won it at the front post as well. He's come forward, it's mid to front post, he's just got up above everybody. And I think if you're Chris Farino or Owen Tolan at centre-back, you're the two biggest lads on the pitch. If you're not getting up against him, there's not many other people. But then you look at if Richard Taylor was not injured, all 6'5" of him, is it?
Yeah, very
He might have given us a little cutting edge for them for playing on that backside. He would have pushed more into the middle. You've got two players to deal with him rather than him drifting off onto Conway's side. But fair play, I'd say Max Conway for me had a great game for his first professional real start.
Conway did have the best effort in the second half, it has to be said, because he makes the run from just inside, goes into the area, he strikes it onto the post. The rebound effort, Aaron Morley just put slightly wide.
He probably could have done a little bit better with that, Aaron. Again, having seen, with being one of the highlights of the game, I have seen that, and it was a real good effort. Very unlucky to see it come back off the post. And again, it was a game of fine margins, really, wasn't it? It was a game of, we saw you could be looking at that, and we could have been 2-0 up by half time. Because if we bagged those two that hit the post.
Well, you've got Xavier Simons as well with his first half chance, and he's hit that low and hard, and the keeper's not. The keeper's in no man's land when it comes across. Obviously, the woodworks prevents it going in, but you see it and going, like, the chances are there. The Dacres Cogley one from the little set piece we had when he plays it across the box. Now, I know me and you discussed this off the podcast, but why is Dacres Cogley the person who the ball's coming across to?
It looked like a really well thought out set piece.
You've got Mason Burstow, you've got Cozy Dewsbury, you've got Mendes Gomez, you've got John McAtee. You've got 4 players there. All you have to say is, right, we know what we're going to do. That's going to come there. One of you 4 are going to finish that.
Oh,
you're right back.
Sorry, you've called to mind something horrible I witnessed in the second half as well. You're inside the area, you're thinking, a number 10, well, that's how I think of McAtee as a number 10.
He's a number 10, is it? Cam.
How does he not get his shot on target?
No, I know.
McAtee is frustrating.
It's on his weaker side, I'll give him that. He's off balance, you can see that, but he's still one of the better players in the team.
Yeah, and we've seen him finish incredibly well on many occasions, but there does seem to be games where his finishing just seems to be lacking.
Off the boil.
Yeah.
What is it about John McAtee that just doesn't seem to click for Bolton? Fair enough, he was second top scorer last season. But you remember the guy who was at Barnsley?
Yeah, it hasn't quite got running yet, has it? In terms of being the same.
You also look at your creative prowess from obviously last season we didn't see any wing play.
Yeah.
This season the ball will come across the box more, and if you are in the position, we've all played football, if you put yourself in a position, the ball comes across the box,
you're going to get
10 times, you're going to get at least a swipe at it.
Yeah.
So with that dynamic play, that we're playing a lot more direct, a lot more wing play. You're seeing the lads down the sides, and then you've got Thierry Gale coming on in the 60th minute. To have him as an option on your bench to bring him on now, like it's suddenly
how long will he be a bench option though?
Well,
he keeps coming on looking good.
I think after seeing Mendes Gomez's performance on Sunday, I think
but a lot of detractors on that.
It'll be a sure thing in Mendes Gomez's mind to say, I need to step up.
Well, hopefully we'll put a boot up his backside, so to speak, because that's what you want. You want competition to places to keep people hungry and keep people performing at the highest standard you possibly can. But overall, I mean, again, it's points dropped because we've not won them. But again, it's always going to be a difficult game. I don't know if Stockport away is going to be on your list at the beginning of the season of we're definitely going to get points from that game.
I would have took a point.
Yeah,
100%
I think I would have with the goal before half time.
We've come home empty-handed. Of course, we've given somebody who will probably be up in and around that kind of promotion hunt a 3-point advantage over us very early doors. But on the whole, coming out of it, there does seem to be a lot of positives to take into the season. It doesn't seem like we've gone there and been decimated. We've not gone there and been rubbish, as we have been in previous seasons. To be honest, if you go into the Park, we've seen performances there that have been, very lacklustre.
Last November, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. But that didn't seem to be that kind of performance today. Didn't seem to be that kind of performance on Sunday. It did seem to be more of a performance from what I've heard and what I've seen in those highlights packages, what I've read in the papers online. It did seem to be, we played really well, we just didn't get the rub of the green. And if we don't get too many games like that, then there's no reason why we can't have a very good season.
I'm interested to see, just off Chris's opinion, like what you thought of the new signings, like in terms of we seen a very fresh lineup, really.
Yes.
New faces in that.
Very new look Wanderers, wasn't it?
Yeah, very new look Wanderers.
Cozy Dubry looks like he belongs right away, and the fact that he and Copley appear to have chemistry on that right hand side does bode very well for me. I agree with you and Burstow. The hold-up play was very good, and I think that one of the things that was missing last season for Bolton, they didn't have that hold-up player, the guy who would really unsettle defences. Because say what you will about Darwin Nunez, but I felt Liverpool have made a clanger letting him go. They made a substantial loss as well, but that's another matter for another day.
Well, sometimes players don't quite. Sometimes players need a couple of seasons, especially in English football, to really get running with it.
Firmino was a perfect example. He didn't
hit the ground running, but then he became an absolute incredible player.
But his assist tally was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And his creative play that builds up. Nunez, like you said, then I think there is something. There's a player there, and man, he showed it in Portugal.
Yeah.
He you know what I mean? He was there and banging goals in left, right, and centre. And when Liverpool went to Benfica in the Champions League, he gave him he run him off the pitch. So I think there is a player in there, and I think they have made obviously a profitable, significant loss as well.
Yes. But my thinking is Burstow for his older play. Exactly what Bolton do need. I had thought he might come off the bench rather than be one of the starters. Then again, out of the players who were on the bench, who could have ended up starting him?
Joe Randall.
Maybe Joel.
I think, and then when they brought Randall on, they pushed McAtee up top and put Joe Randall in the number 10 position again. So you're literally putting a number 10 in number 9 position that it's not like we said, I think we can all agree on John McAtee's best position is at number 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
He's creative best, and he's a feisty player as well. He gets
I'd love to see that feistiness shown now and again.
Yeah,
because any time Bolton played Barnsley when he was there, he'd always know exactly what to do to properly get under the Bolton players'
skins. He was combative, he was in your face, he was aggressive.
Where's that John McAtee?
But I think when he signed for Wanderers, though, right at the beginning, there was all this stuff in the press and all over Twitter and everything, well, X, but saying about him being, he had to come out and publicly apologise to a few players about like stuff that had happened in the past, and maybe he's been, told to damn it down a little bit, but also he's playing for Bolton now, so give that to everybody else.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him doing that. If he picks up a yellow card or two, then so be it. It's just the nature of the beast.
We'll be saving loads of yellow cards now. Thomason's left, so it's absolutely fine. But yeah, it does seem like a lot of positives and that we can take forward. Yeah, disappointing to get the season off to a losing start, but at least we don't have to do Stockport away again this season, because as we know, it's always a bit of a rough do.
Yes. And at least it's out the way and you can start afresh now.
Yeah, there is that to take into consideration.
But then another big game on Saturday. I know we're going to come to it in a little bit and we'll do a little bit of a preview of what we expect. But Plymouth Argyle, I mean, as we said last week in the preview, like, what a start to the season. I mean, it's all the heavy games, big hitters coming our way in the early doors, but if we can get a few good results out of it, then
if you can take between 8 and 10 points from that,
then you're laughing. You're in a really good. That's a really good start to the season. But yeah, we'll come back to the first team of course, when we look towards that game against Plymouth. A couple of other bits just to touch upon. Of course, Clyde Lawes was sold to Peterborough United for an undisclosed fee on Friday, the 1st of August, so the day after we actually recorded last week's podcast. No massive surprises that Clyde has gone on his way. A decent player, but I don't think quite at the level, or at least yet in his career, that we needed at the time. But he will always be remembered for that absolutely glorious chest on the line that secured a lovely 3 points for us in the last minute.
Against Peterborough?
Against Peterborough, in fact, yes. So there you go. That's why they've signed him. They think you follow up them penalties, lad, and we'll be right.
Do you remember he got injured in the dying minutes of the opening game of last season against Leyton Orient, and I don't think he was ever the same. No, unfortunately. I don't think he was ever put in his right place either. In the Bolton team.
This is you're talking about Ian Everett's Bolton Wanderers. And I mean, the guy literally refused to play anybody where they were supposed to play. Like, if you would have, I mean, you had arguably one of the best players in League One at the current time with Dapo Afolayan. He would refuse to play him in where he was good. Yeah, he tried him everywhere, but where he should play. I mean, you look at every player.
And last season he was scoring goals in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, and against your likes of Bayern Munich and teams like that, and yet you talk it. It's just the typical thing. But obviously with Schumacher now and the understanding he seems to have of what him and his backroom staff all have of what they want to do going forward with in terms of who Bolton are and the image we're going to present on the pitch, like what's the style of play he wants it to be fashionable and look good as well as have the things. Yes, Sunday didn't go our way, but if that happens for the next 45 games, I can't see us not scoring goals.
Yeah.
It's very fair shout, isn't it?
From the handful of chances I saw in the highlights package, I mean, I agree with you. You play like that, you can fashion those chances, you are going to score goals in most games. It was just see that the weekend, unfortunately, wasn't one of those. Elsewhere, of course, the women's season getting kicked off very, very soon. Fixtures for the new season are going to be opening up on Sunday, the 17th of August. That this week? This coming?
It's next
a week on. Yeah, a week on Sunday. Of course, now in the North West Women's Regional League Premier Division, opening up away at Darwin on Sunday the 17th, followed by the first home game of the season, which is going to be against FC United of Manchester, which of course is going to take place at Chorley FC's Victory Park, the new home of Bolton Wanderers Women for the next season.
I can tell you two are very pleased by it.
It's much closer to my house.
It's much closer.
It means it's much easier for me to go and watch the games. I do understand why there's a little bit of disappointment for those who live close to the Allerton side of things, because of course LA last season.
Wrong one.
At Collins last season.
But obviously the standard I mean, when you go to Victory Park, especially for the girls playing, it shows the step up in where they've got to. Like, they've gone up a league, they get a better ground. You've got the stand, all that sort of thing that just creates that magic in the stadium. Like, and I think it's class for them.
Yeah, and of course they did have a lot of issues towards the back end of last season with fixture clashes and getting the games in and having to go to other grounds. Maybe that came into the thinking this time. I don't think it's a decision they've taken lightly. I think they very much valued what Abington College have done with them. But it just obviously worked out better for them. Plus, it is closer to Lostock training ground. It's closer to the stadium. Even though it's not in the Bolton area, it is actually closer to everything that's going on at the club. So maybe that was something that was taken into account as well. But like I said, for me it's good because I can go to more games now with much more ease. It's a very quick buzz ride down to Victory Park. So yeah, I'm going to look forward to taking in a few women's games this season, I think. Darwin's not far, you know.
No, you're right.
17th, maybe we could have a bit of a boost to that.
It's the number one bus straight through.
Exactly, yeah. Well, if you're in Bolton, it is. For us, we've got to get to there, but you know.
I mean, all I need to do is drive onto Blackburn Road and then just go up for a while.
Well, there you go. We don't even have to get the number one bus. We'll just meet Chris somewhere and we'll go straight up the Blackburn Road.
It's not a bad shout.
Did.
You know what's a bit of a shame? The FC United game being on the same night as Bolton men playing.
Yes, yeah, that is a little shame.
I wish they'd had a bit more time to think about this logistically, because they could have had the women's game on first and then the men to follow.
Oh, that would have been good. That would have been very good. That would have been very good.
You could have had a 5:30 kick-off for the women and then 8 o'clock for the men.
Yeah.
Would have been perfect. That's the way I see it anyway.
I think that would have been a great way to expose a lot more people to the women's team, or at least give them an opportunity to do so. Elsewhere though, for the women's team, Annabelle White has signed. She's joined from Blackburn on a permanent deal. She was on dual registration last season and kept 11 clean sheets. Quality goalkeeper. Can't argue with that, and keeping her in the team is spot on. Abby Brown has also joined. That boosts our attacking options. She was formerly of Leeds United, Leeds United Player of the Year. She's also played in Portugal, in Israel and in the United States, where she graduated from Lenore Ryan University in North Kakalaki with a degree in sports and exercise science. So there you go. Might also be able to help with a few injury issues and such what with that degree as well. Lucy Walsh, local girl, Bolton born, a defender, joins from Burnley. She started in the youth ranks at Everton before moving over to Burnley. Played every single league game for Burnley in the 22-23 season. Was out on loan to Liverpool Feds and FC Halifax Town in the third tier of the women's pyramid last term. And now we're playing football in her hometown of Bolton. Natasha Dale also joined the ranks of midfielder and also another local girl after a trial period, including a 3-1 win against Allerton LR ladies in a pre-season friendly. She started in the Bolton the Community College programme prior to moving on to Chorley, went on to sign for Blackburn in the youth ranks before debuting the Conti Cup as a sub against Durham in October 2023. Dual registration spells in the third and fourth tier, including one at AFC final. But now moving to the ladies team, and of course a lot of optimism about the coming season for the girls team. Absolutely blew it away last year, an undefeated league season, and winning the league as well. Could have been a treble if it wasn't for that pesky game against Tranmere Rovers.
No. Oh, I thought you were going to say in the the League Cup competition.
Well, there was that as well.
They ended up losing to, I want to say, Penrith.
Yeah, I think that rings a bell.
Yeah.
But a really, really good season for Miles and the team. A couple of new faces added to the ranks. I'm not sure what the deal is with just Lightfoot this season, whether she'll go dual registration again or...
Well, I want to ask if we come across Miles.
But of course we'll try and... We have a couple of chats with Miles, of course, here on the podcast. We'll try and get it back on. Ahead of or very soon into the new season, of course, very, very busy preparing, getting everything straightened out for this new campaign, and hopefully another tilt at a promotion season or a championship winning season, and hopefully win some more cup competitions as well.
Yeah, well, I did have a look on the Lancs FA website, and I'm trying to remember if I've got this correct off the top of my head. They've been entered along with 7 other teams into the Lancs FA Women's Senior Cup, I think it is, and they'll be taking on AFC final. We've not got the dates yet for any of the ties. It seems like it's going to be something that will be held in the second half of the season. So maybe it might be a trophy worth aiming for in the campaign. I know the ambition for Bolton Wanderers women will be to get into the Women's National League setup as soon as possible.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I don't think I'd mind too much if they just try the season of consolidation and then properly go for it the season afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it'll surely start season,
yeah.
Understand the league you're in,
yeah.
Understand the competition, mainly what you're up against, because as the football pyramid works, you never know what you're walking into.
It could breeze through another season, and it could be next season when they go, oh right, hang on, this has now took that big step up where we've now, this is real fierce competition, and we're not just going to have our own way more often than not, which is how it was last season. And of course they did beat some teams from this level last season as well in cup competitions, so no reason to believe that we can't have a very good season, but I understand what you're saying. If it's not another let's challenge for the title and promotion this season, I wouldn't be weeping as long as we're not in any danger of going back down to the level we're at, because of course it is a steady progression that they're after. But it wouldn't surprise me again if we did blitz through it, because we don't really know what we're up against in terms of I'm not a great aficionado of women's football at this level. I'm sure in not quite 12 months' time I'll know a lot more about women's football at this level, but then next season that might not be what it used to be if we have blitzed through it, because then it'll be a different level that we're looking at. But it is an adventure and it's going to be fun to see what they do. I'm definitely going to find myself at Victory Park a few times over the course of the coming season. We've all been to a couple of women's games as well. We were there at the cup final.
Mm-hmm.
We also ventured down to the cup semi-final as well, didn't we? So plenty of excitement for that. And I'm assuming we're all going to be looking at heading to a few games next year.
No, absolutely.
Might be worth pointing out that they're not the only Bolton Wanderers women's team in the league. The women who ended up winning the Lancs FA Women's County Premier Division, they're now in their Bolton Wanderers Women Reserves.
Oh,
weirdly enough, a friend of ours is the coach for that.
Yes.
And we play football with him.
yes, we do, Reece.
Reece Cook.
Yeah, great, good lad. His niece, I think, goes to school and came and shouted at me about it one day. But
Did you?
yeah, you know my uncle. Oh, do it.
Well,
And then she told me Reece was like, oh yeah, Reece is great. But no, it's with that, it's interesting that we've got that coming up as well. That I suppose that's how it works at that levels of the women's game. You do often get those reserve teams in there.
But
but it's going to help how
can't be in
develop,
the
isn't
same
it?
league, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that'd be a weird fixture to have in the calendar, wouldn't
No,
it?
yeah. But it does mean that again the women in that reserve team are going to be getting senior women's football. They're going to be getting blooded at a good level, and that should then help the progression of moving on through to the first team.
Absolutely.
Plus, I'd imagine that given the way women's football works, part of the reason why you can't be in the same division as well is because a lot of those players will be have that dual registration thing going on where they can play for both Bolton Wanderers and Bolton Wanderers reserves.
Yeah.
Because if Jess Lightfoot could play for Everton and for Bolton Wanderers, willy-nilly, it seems silly to say we can't play for your own reserves when they're in a division lower. So I think that it will really help that progression through to that
you have a
level.
natural feeder team, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And obviously you get to see if people are ready to make the step. You've got the option there. So they can.
Yeah, and I can definitely see the. I can understand why some of the bigger teams in the world, well in England at least, would like to adopt the kind of model of having B teams in the lower divisions because it's clearly very helpful for bringing players through.
But I suppose you see that in the what would be the Papa John's Cup.
Yes, and that's what they kind of brought that thing in.
21s teams.
And I don't want to see it in English League football because the English League system is strong enough to not need to do that.
No, I agree.
But I do see its positives for the team that has the B team. It's no good, playing against Man United B team in the league would probably not be a big massive advantage for a lot of the clubs that they have to come up against. But it would be a huge advantage for Manchester United. I understand that. But for the women to kind of have that and for them to be a level so close behind, just means that it should just be a lovely little feeder through, and that'd be fantastic, and we'll hopefully be able to reap the benefits.
Now, I don't have this on official confirmation, but they have released the draw for the first qualifying round of the Women's FA Cup. Bolton Wanderers weren't in that, but the second qualifying round, which is where I think they would enter, will be on Sunday the 21st of September. So the good thing is, the fixtures are getting unveiled very quickly indeed. I think I remember rightly, barring any serious congestion, it looks like the league season anyway, will be done by, end of March, something like that, which isn't bad.
We'll see, but again, I think at that level there's always a little bit of a buffer period because there might well be games getting called off during the winter for frozen pitches. A lot of these games taking place on pitches that don't have the advantages of some top rounds like the tough sheet where you've got the undersoil heating and advantages like that.
There is a bit of that at the academy, isn't there?
Yes, and I think for us it might not be a major issue for our home games. I think it's when we go away to some of the smaller teams where
Also, the other thing is
they're not playing the
the further
same.
you go north.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not like we've got a game called off at the tough sheet for adverse weather. And it's often not the pitches, but the surrounding conditions and safety for fans and things like that. So I think it just gives them a little bit of a buffer period at those lower levels to say we do have time to rearrange a good chunk of pitches if we have to towards the back end of the season, without it being an absolute chaotic mess. And like when you get those weird instances in football managers that never happen in real life, where you've got like 5 games in 12 days, and you're like, well, how does that work? Which obviously in real life football doesn't ever happen.
Oh no, you've not followed amateur football.
Well, in amateur football, yeah, but in the professional levels.
Okay, fair enough.
But again, in that buffer point at the end of the season, that's where you might get those kind of silly runs if there's been a lot of games called off. But I think it's sensible to have it there. I mean, hopefully they don't need it, but we'll see. It is what it is. And there'll probably be cup competitions going into that as well.
Well, you get the Women's FA Cup, they'll have the Lancs FA competitions to contend with, they've got the League Cup. So you get 3 competitions.
Plenty of games.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't you worry about that. And we've mentioned B teams and bits and pieces like that. There are a couple of B team bits to just pop through. 2 pre-season friendlies to touch upon. 1-0 loss at Aberton College on the 19th last month, and they beat Longbridge Town 4-2 on the 22nd of the 7th as well. So there you go. Attacking midfielder Dunbum Easy signs on a season-long loan for Scunthorpe United. I hope I pronounced that somewhere near right. It's Easy or Eze?
It's Eze, isn't it?
Eze?
Is it not Eze's brother?
Oh, is it?
I don't know.
I heard rumours on the grapevine that he's actually Eze's younger brother.
Interesting.
I don't know how true that is, don't quote me, but...
Well, we'll check that, and if it's not, then we'll just edit it out.
Yeah.
But if it's right, then we'll keep it in and edit this bit out instead. So he's signed on a season-long loan for Scunthorpe United. Anyway, he had gone out on loan in the previous campaign to Chorley and Halifax, so being at Chorley, he'll at least know the neck of the woods a little bit anyway. And left wing back AJ Weston was sent on loan to FC United Manchester until January for his first taste of men's football up at senior level. Spent the 24-25 term in the B team and played a full 90 minutes in the Lancashire FA Senior Cup final against Burnley. And that is pretty much that, other than to look forward to the weekend and what we expect to see in that game, or at least what we want to see in that game against Plymouth Argyle. We expect it to be a tough game. Plymouth, of course, just coming down from the league above. Stephen Schumacher's former team as well, which always makes it a little bit more spicy. But what are we expecting from the weekend's action?
Stat checker.
Oh, he's checking some stats.
It is.
It is, there you go.
It is his brother.
It's his younger brother. Lovely
so
stuff.
We've got England capped international with his brother in the B team for us.
There you go. Absolutely excellent news. But yeah, Plymouth Argyle, first home game of the season, of course, which is always an exciting one for all the fans, getting back down there into the stadium after so long away. But what are we expecting?
Well, I'm going to say it. It's Shuey's old team.
Yeah.
Does it not spice it up even more? First home game, Shuey's first game against, and the last time we played them. Was it in the cup, or did we play them after that?
No, it was in the trophy.
It was in the trophy, and we slapped them about.
And so it's going to be interesting.
It certainly is. It always makes me giggle looking at the team sheet for the Papa John's Trophy game to see Stephen Schumacher's name on the other side, opposite Ian Everts, because of course now he's our manager. But yeah, I think if we go and we play a game where we get the kind of feedback that we got from the Stockport game, I don't see why we shouldn't be well in contention if we can finish off a couple of chances. If we come out of the traps, because I did see the first 10 minutes of the game, and if we can come out of the traps looking as lively as we did in the early going on in that first half, I don't see why we can't make some trouble for Plymouth and be looking at securing some points.
I think Bolton definitely needs a strong response, but then again you wonder what are Plymouth going to be like, because they also lost in the opening weekend.
Yeah, and that could be a sign that maybe Plymouth aren't going to be that team that we should be worried about. Maybe they're going to have one of those seasons where they don't bounce back from relegation all that well and find themselves getting beaten on a fairly regular basis. Maybe it will be the week where they try and step up and think, right, we've got to right the wrongs, but we're going to be doing that as well. And of course, it is going to be on our territory, which should give us an advantage. The crowd, I'm imagining, are going to be well up for it, being the first game of the season at home. A lot of people have been waiting a long time to get back into their seats in that stadium and make a right old ruckus, so we'll see what goes on.
More than 22,000, I'm led to believe.
Very nice, and it's great when you get a good atmosphere in there. And when the tush sheet's rocking, it is an absolutely
Well,
cracking.
hopefully the atmosphere is better than at Stockport away, because as Twitter has exploded over, there was no atmosphere. From watching it on TV, it seemed very quiet, especially for away fans, Bolton Wanderers.
Yeah, we're usually quite
We're
very,
like a raucous bunch of giving it a bit of chanting and all that.
Maybe a few of the louder people were on their holidays, because it is, of course, the summer holidays. A lot of people go away, so maybe that played into it. But I think that if we can play like it sounded like we played, and from what I saw in the highlights, if we can play like that, then I don't think we're going to be looking at getting slapped about by any stretch of the imagination.
It's what we do. It's what we're good at. Got to play good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's got to be done.
Just need to be proactive and get the first goal this time.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd like another instance where it's a great first half, bar not scoring, and yeah, exactly that. Find yourself behind, and then you're having to play a catch up. And it's interesting. We're recording this on the day that I've been to Lostock and we've done the presser for the game. And he mentioned the fact that for the first 15 minutes of the second half, any time that Bolton appeared to be in something of the ascendancy, they'd end up conceding possession, making a foul, the referee blows his whistle, and that's it. Whatever momentum you got stops. I think Bolton do need to have that thing of making sure if they do go behind on the stroke of half time, forget about it, put it out of your mind and realise that all you got to do is score the next goal, and you're pretty much back to where you were before you conceded.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that you've got that.
Sounds like a skill issue to me, that.
Well, it can be sometimes. When you're front of goal, they've got to be putting the chances away. It's all right making the chances, but you've got to put them in the back of the net. And again, I think we're unlucky at the weekend, but there's only so many weeks you can go by where you're like, well, we keep being unlucky, because eventually, yeah, it does start to look like skill issue, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the options, what we've got coming back from injury as well. You've got Charlie Warren, new signing, we've not seen
Very
anything.
excited to see what he does.
And, well, obviously, I'm sure everyone who loves football loves to see a story of the non-league player.
Exactly.
Breaks into, comes in, Jamie Vardy, with Jamie Vardy in our generation, and then you've got obviously the name Sam Dalby. He's been around, he's played in League One before, he's been playing in the Scottish Premier League. So
Ricky Lambert as well,
yeah.
one of those players.
Having that option on the bench, like you said, going back to just not dwelling on it too much, but having Joe Randall coming off the bench as a striker, or to come on to push somebody else into attack. That's not an option. To me, that's not a striking option. That's you're putting a band-aid on a wound, ain't you, and hoping that it don't fall back off. And having that luxury of having them two players, strikers coming back,
will certainly help, won't it?
Massively.
Absolutely.
Confidence on the bench as well. Like you're looking, you're thinking, your man's here. Could he use potential to get us a goal?
Yeah.
No, I completely agree, and I think that when those options come back in, it's going to be certainly very, very helpful for Stephen Schumacher when he's putting those sides together, to have more recognised strikers available to him, and we'll hopefully be not bringing home, but we'll be getting 3 points at home at the weekend. But I think that's pretty much the end of what we've got. What's discussed this evening? So yeah, win, lose or draw, do you think, at the weekend?
Win for me.
Win for you. What are you, Keith?
I'm going for a win. I'm being positive.
I'll go for the hat-trick. I think we're going to win it as well, and hopefully it'll be 3 points on the board for the first time this season, get us off to a start in the second game. But there you go. Of course, we do have the cup game. Hopefully we'll get past Sheffield Wednesday. It wouldn't surprise me with the kind of mess that they're in. But at the same time, as I expressed last week, fixture congestion, I think, did kick us in the backside a little bit over the past couple of seasons. So I wouldn't be weeping any tears if we didn't get through to the next round of the League Cup. But there you go, it is what it is. That's pretty much everything from us this evening, other than to say, if you've enjoyed this podcast, do tell all your friends, your family, your school friends, your teachers, your pets, your random people in the street, maybe not random people in the street, but just tell everybody to watch a little bit of this with us right here. We are Behind the Whites. A big thank you, as always, to our partners, to Bolton FM, to Imagination Street, and to Bolton TV. We will be back about this time next week with more Behind the Whites, so we will see you later. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay behind the whites.